Hello, I'm Jashikins, and welcome to another episode of Jash Reads. I'm sorry for the brief hiatus. I was a little busy, but I am here and back again to read more of Animorphs number 6, The Capture by K. Applegate. So let's get started. How long do you think this will take? Rachel asked. She checked her watch. I set the VCR for two of my favorite shows. I forgot to tape the movie of the week. I'm taping it in case you miss it, Cassie said. It was dark out, but not very late. The moon was up, but hidden by the clouds. We were walking along the street, doing our best to look like a normal bunch of kids just hanging out. Normal. This sucks, Tobias said from high above. I'm half blind at night, especially without moonlight. I should have got myself stuck in an owl body. Owls are so cool, aside from the fact that some of them try to kill and eat falcons. How can you ever run in these bodies? Axe wondered. 2 legs? It is absurd. 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 Not even a tail to help you stay up. Axe was in his human morph. It's a combination of DNA from me, Marco, Rachel, and Cassie. The result is kind of like looking at all of us at once, but in one body. It's really weird. Hex had almost gotten used to having a mouth when he was in his human morph. Almost. He still had a tendency to want to play with sounds, repeating them. Plus, the boy was dangerous when he got around food. The sense of taste was just overwhelming for him. You know, Axe, now that you mention it, Marco started gyrating wildly, like a guy out of control. I only have 2 legs! I'm falling! Falling! See? I knew it must happen sometimes, Axe said, adding, happen? Hap. Hap. Pun. I wasn't sure if Axe knew Marco was being funny or not. Axe might have a very dry sense of humor, or he might have no sense of humor at all. I hadn't figured it out yet. There's the place, I said. It was up ahead, at the end of the block. It was a residential neighborhood with older houses and a few kind of low-budget shops mixed in. You know, thrift shops and car parts places and small restaurants. Our target was a single-story, whitewashed building. There was only one door, and the windows were high up, narrow and long. They were blocked off so that no one could see inside. There was a small parking lot with a dozen cars in it. Over the door was a sign. The sharing, building a better life. Yeah, right, Marco sneered. A better life for slugs from outer space. You notice the guy standing by the door? It looks like he's ready for trouble. A very large man stood by the door, muscular arms folded over his chest. But we'd expected that. Marco and Rachel and I had scoped the place out ahead of time. Okay, we cut down this alley, I said. That building down there is abandoned. The basement is empty and unlocked. That's where we morph. The basement was dark and depressing and smelled of mildew. I guess it used to be part of a restaurant. There were still some old tables strewn around. There was also a lot of old beer bottles and bits of garbage. Wonderful, Rachel said in a whisper. This whole Animorph lifestyle is so glamorous. Tobias fluttered in through the open door. Then we heard a thump. Ow! Man, who put a pillar there? Bang my right wing. Great! This is the guy who's supposed to be looking out for us. Marco grumbled. Axe had instantly begun to morph back to his Xandalite body. It is not possible to go straight from one morph to another. Just like we have to return to human form between morphs, he had to resume Andalite form. Come on, let's do this and get it over with, Rachel said. I'm going to be a roach in a filthy basement. My mother would be so proud if she knew. Wait, Cassie said. We agree on how this works, right? We're not looking for a fight. This is a spy mission. No one do anything dramatic like morph into an elephant and go on a stomping spree. Cassie was looking at Rachel. Rachel has an elephant morph. She's very fond of it. Rachel laughed. Absolutely. Spy time. Stealth is my middle name. Okay. I was a little embarrassed that Cassie had brought it up. She was trying to remind everyone that Tom was one of the controllers in that meeting. Trying to remind everyone that we were just there for information. Let's morph already, Rachel said. Come on, I'll miss the movie. 5 little roaches will be right at home in this stump. Marco said it as he began the transformation. You will keep the rest from eating us, won't you, Tobias? Hey, I may not see that well in the dark, but I still can catch a rat. Light or no light. I am the rat killer of the universe. Axe, you ready? Yes, Prince Jake. I'm fully Andalite and ready to become your roach. Few moments later, we were 5 cockroaches amid the scattered garbage on the bare concrete floor. Whoa, that is one big beer can, Marco said. A blue and white can towered over us, curving away into the sky. Let's, scurry, I said. Axe, you keep track of the time. We took off, a little knot of fast-moving roaches, all running in the same direction. You know, if this wasn't so gross, it would be kind of cool, Rachel said. Stairs. All right, a little vertical rock climbing. Tiny pinchers on the end of my 6 legs grabbed the small protrusions of concrete and wedged into invisible cracks. It all happened so fast and so automatically that I could run straight up the cement step, almost as fast as I could move horizontally. Up the riser, over the edge, zoom to the next riser, up, over, across, to the top of the 4 stairs. You know, you guys still give me the willies, Tobias said. You should see yourselves. The urge to step on you is pretty strong. If I had shoes, I never did like roaches. This from a guy who disembowels live mice for lunch, Marco said. Don't knock it if you haven't tried it, Tobias shot back. In some corner of my mind, I noted the fact that Tobias seemed more at peace with his weird life. Half bird, half human. But mostly, my mind was on the job at hand. We had reached the threshold. We scampered across it and out into the alley. The alley was a mix of gravel and cracked, torn up blacktop. The blacktop was like rain across hard oatmeal, all bumpy and uneven. The gravel was more difficult. The pieces of rock were as big as we were, and even with our 6 clever legs, there was a lot of stumbling and slipping. I'm going airborne, Tobias said. You're out on the sidewalk. Turn left. There's bare light out here, so I'll be able to watch you from the top of the telephone pole. Okay, we'd better spread out. Don't forget, these are controllers, Yeerks. They believe there's a group of Andalite warriors running around loose. In other words, they'll be on the lookout for morphs. So, act like normal roaches. You mean I should crawl inside an open box of cereal? Marco asked. I had that happen once. I almost ate the bug. Ugh. We fanned out, staying several inches apart as we moved toward the building. I stopped when I reached the whitewashed cinder block of the exterior wall. Crack! Cassie called. I found a big crack here. I'm going in. The rest of us waited. I felt obvious just sitting there. Obvious and helpless. The big guy at the door could decide to step on me. I couldn't see him, but I knew he was there. This is good, Cassie said from deep in the wall. I think we can follow it all the way inside. One by one, we scurried to our location. I felt better when I was inside the crack, until I thought about what would happen if I tried to demorph in such a tight spot. Didn't even want to start thinking about that. We're going in, Tobias, I called to him. Get somewhere safe. I'm cool, he said. Good luck. We were traveling single file sideways along the crack. It was like exploring a cave. There was no light, but my antennae felt the way, picking up the scent of the others, reading the tiny air currents, sniffing for familiar aromas. Then I saw a faint light that grew brighter as I advanced. Cassie was in the lead. It worked. It goes all the way through. I'm inside. I settled up beside her. I could see through the crack opening now. I could see brilliant light, and I could feel vibration. The vibration of sound, of speech. I concentrated. It was impossible to tell much about the voice. Who it was, it seemed too high to be someone old. Was it Tom? I listened to the words. The day is here at last. It is time to strike the decisive blow in the invasion of Earth. What is this? A Yeerk pep rally? Marco wondered. Cassie started giggling. Well, thought to be giggling. And pretty soon all of us, except Axe, were laughing silently. It was very nervous laughter. We need to get out of this crack, I said. Spread out a little. We look too obvious just sitting here, and we should try to see if we can identify some of these people. Move out. Go, wait, not all at once! Too late. We were all scampering down the wall from the crack to the floor. To anyone watching, it would have looked like invasion of the roaches. 5 roaches moving all together is an easy thing to notice. But I had forgotten one thing. Humans hate roaches. A human will spot a roach very quickly. But Yeerks couldn't care less. Even though these were all human controllers, they were with their fellow Yeerks now. They didn't have to keep up the human act. No one stomped us, although I waited for a big shoe to drop down from the sky. We separated a little, then headed along the edge of the wall, where bare concrete floor met painted cinder block walls. Hey guys, can you hear me? It's Tobias. Just barely, but I still understand you, I called back. Thought speak gets weaker over distances, same as regular speech. Although walls and so on aren't a problem. There's a car pulling up outside here. A limo. And there are 2 other cars with it, full of very tough-looking dudes. What are they doing? Getting out now. Like 6 guys. They have guns. I can see them under their coats. Now there's a guy getting out of the back of the limo. Who is it? Or should I say, what is it? He's human. He staggered a little, walking toward the door. He looks like a normal guy, but all the others are acting very nervous, and I know this sounds dumb, but I get a bad feeling from this guy. Now I could hear the vibrations of many feet walking fast. They're coming our way now, Tobias. Thanks for the warning. I tried to use my eyes, but they were hopeless at any kind of distance. All I could tell was that several men had arrived and were marching through the room. My brothers in arms, some loud, booming voice said, I present to you our leader, Visher 3. There was a gasp from the group. There's a sudden gasp from us, too. Visher 3? Visher 3 had an ant-like body. He was the only Yeerk ever to obtain an ant-like body with all its morphing power. But surely Tobias would have mentioned seeing an ant-like gain out of a car. I see that some of you are surprised. New voice said, surely you must know that I can morph a human as well as any other body. Oh man, Marcos said. Sure 3 can morph a human? Certainly, Axe said. Just as I do. Humans are animals after all. You have DNA. The voice we now knew as Visher 3 spoke in a hard, curt tone. It was odd hearing his words. We had only heard him thought speak before. Now he had a voice. And if we could only see it, a human body. But he was too far away for our weak and distorted roach vision. The mission has 2 parts. 1, we will use the front hospital to take involuntary hosts. I expect to be able to make 200 new controllers per Earth month. We will concentrate on police, broadcasters, writers, teachers, people in finance, and especially anyone in a position of political power. There was a murmur of excitement from the assembled crowd. Just what we were afraid of, I said. Unfortunately. Marco agreed. Man, 200 new controllers a month? You have done well recruiting human doctors and nurses, so that we now control the hospital facility. But this brings me to the second part of the mission. Fisher 3 said, until now, this secret was known only to me and a very small group. The room was almost totally silent, listening, anticipating. The second part of my plan is even more important than the first. In a few days, the governor of this state will have some minor surgery performed. His secretary is one of us, and she has steered him to our facility. He will check in for the minor surgery. When he checks out, he will belong to us. No! Rachel gasped. What does it mean? What is governor? Is this some sort of prince? Axe asked. Yeah, a prince. The governor controls the state police. I said, and the National Guard, the schools. It's worse than that, Rachel said grimly. Don't you guys ever pay attention to politics? What are you talking about? Don't you know our governor is getting ready to run for president next year? A year from now, there could be a controller in the White House. A White House? What does all this mean? Axe asked. It means that one of them could be the most powerful man in the most powerful nation on Earth, I said. That would be the ball game, Marco said. Then all would be lost? Yeah, Axe, all would be lost. And that covers it for Chapter 6 of Animorphs number 6, The Capture by K. Applegate. There's a lot of moments in this series when it's like, Jake has to be so fucking dumb at times. It helps him, I think it really helps him out later in this book, but you'll see what I mean when that time comes. But anyways, it's like, none of the fucking Animorphs, especially Jake, the leader of the group, didn't think, hey, this Andalite, this morph-capable creature could acquire a human. I mean, Axe even points out, like, dude, you have DNA, you're an animal. Why? I morph human. I have a human morph. It's like the fuck. God damn, maybe humans are idiots. Okay. It just like, wow. So that was like, oh God. Okay, Animorphs. Okay, you do you do you, Animorphs. Let's see what else. Then, yeah. Just, you do you, Animorphs. You do you. And please comment below to start, a nice nerdy conversation about this chapter. Remember, no major spoilers, though. If you would like to do major spoilers, if you're watching YouTube, the link in the description to my Tumblr Ask box, and you can ask any spoilery questions there. Let's see. And I want spoiler free for the comments on YouTube because I'm really hoping people come into the series via these videos. So there are some twists and turns for better or worse that you need to encounter firsthand without any real knowledge that they're going to come. So If you watch this video and you're like, hey, this book seems sort of cool, I like to read it, and you want your own actual copy of Animorphs #6, The Capture by K. Applegate, if you are watching on the YouTubes, link in the description. If you're watching on my blog, link on my blog to, buy Animorphs #6, The Capture by K. Applegate. If you are watching this on the YouTubes, please like this video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're watching on my blog and watching on the desktop version of my blog, please choose the follow by email option, and you'll never miss one of my blog posts ever again. And I really waited late to do these videos I've just been feeling really crappy today. I've had bad acid reflux. Luckily, me and my husband's bed, like, you can like lift parts of it up. So I had that up just so I could fall asleep, and I actually woke up and it took an hour or two to fall back asleep. So yeah, a little crappy today. So that's part of the reason. So I'll skip all the outro stuff for this video and just end with the next episode. Will be more of Animorphs #6, The Capture by K. Applegate, and it will air extremely shortly, and can't wait to see you. Bye.